We're now joined by GP Yasotha Browne from the Doctors Association. Welcome to the programme, Yasotha. Thank you very much for joining me. How concerned are you by Liz Truss's plans to divert this $10 billion from the NHS budget? That's, I think, a 7% budget cut, basically.
Yeah, on a personal capacity, as just an individual watching what's going on in our country at the moment, I'm really concerned. There is relentless bad news as as your program has been sort of running on. People are so worried. There's a fuel crisis. There's a cost of living crisis going on. And we know that tackling poverty helps health inequalities. And so these are all interlinked factors. It's not things in isolation. There's a huge amount of responsibility. And this leadership election has been allowed to be going on for 2 months. And for a party that is supposed to be getting on with the job, I actually think they just need to start doing that. It seems to sort of be like some sort of ego mission with people that are so disengaged with the everyday person that all these headlines that are causing so much anxiety and they're going to affect people in real terms. You've got people that I think are representing us that are so removed from it. And there's just a lack of humanity in politics at the moment. And I am absolutely livid about it. I'm so angry. And if you actually look at the way that our health, our rich and poor divide is widening as well, who is actually representing the everyday person? There's a private healthcare boom going on, and I think what's happening, the suggestion is only going to further that. We're sort of seeing a two-tier system of UK healthcare going on. It is really worrying. It's really, really worrying.
Yasotha, you talk about the two leadership candidates being removed from the lives of ordinary people. I wonder, as a GP, if you could describe the sort of pressure you're under at the moment and what you're hearing from other doctors at the Doctors Association.
Yeah, so on the ground, my colleagues are doing, doctors are professionals, they will do what they can, but they're also human. And, the system, I don't think that we can sort of be equivocal about it. The system is really at breaking point. And we're having, waiting list times, trolley waiting times, GP burnout rates, patient access. They're all being compromised at the moment. And so actually to then sort of come out with threatening to defund any of the system, I think without coming out with the modelling that you're using, I think is not particularly responsible at all. And I think that does need to be shared.
Do you think that improving social care, though, would improve to some extent the NHS's workload and relieve some pressure? Are there any positives in the plan?
We need to improve both, as the previous person quoted. So you do need to do both things. Everything is interlinked as well. So all these other issues that you talked about, like the fuel poverty, that also needs to be managed. What we're facing at the moment is that the rich seem to be getting richer at the cost of the everyday person. And we just cannot have that. There needs to be some responsibility. We need to have representation for the everyday person and our worries.
How would you describe the impact? You've described the situation as far as doctors are concerned in terms of workloads and burnout and so on. What do you think is the impact currently on patients' care? Because there are some really eye-watering accounts of waits for emergency services, but also, waits for operations that actually make a huge impact on the quality of people's lives. And actually, you can end up getting iller and therefore costing the NHS more if you're waiting for an operation that, say, makes you immobile. And then you put on weight as a result. There are all kinds of sort of knock-on effects, aren't there?
Exactly. And I think the statistics that kind of introduced this section was a very good outline. And these are also known things. And I expect that, the people that are governing us to be really well informed about the statistics and to actually be looking at modelling, asking experts and doing this. So it is very worrying when we see sort of a reversal of the 36 billion investment that was supposed to reform NHS social care, as mentioned in September 2021, that there's going to be a change to this and a change of tactic without really the backing of health bodies, or an understanding of how that's going to work and what the effects are. So I'm really surprised that we can see this at this time of crisis.
Dr. Yasotha Browne, thank